So first of all, to my Dharma friends in whichever place you are, I wish you Tashitele, my greetings. I also hope that you are well and happy. And so some of my Dharma friends, some of you I may know, some of you I may not know, I may not have met, but when you are listening to the teachings, you should feel as if we are close. You should feel as if we can get to know each other. And so why do we want to become close to each other? So that we know how to, in having achieved this human rebirth, in this human life, to achieve happiness. And then also by connecting with each other, how to go from happiness to happiness, from lifetime to lifetime in the future. And also, if we check in a very stable way, if we look at our current situation, we will see that we have all of the necessary inner and outer conditions. If we recognize that we have these inner and outer conditions, then we will be able to be relaxed, peaceful in this life. And as well, that we call the self or the I, from rebirth to rebirth in the future, will be happy. And the other thing that it is very important to recollect, that it is very important to remind ourselves, is that having achieved this human rebirth, I want to live a good life. Having achieved this human rebirth, I want to be a good or upstanding person. With this human rebirth, I will only work to benefit others, and at a minimum, I will not harm them. We have an opportunity, if we are able to keep this recollection, if we are able to remind ourselves of this as much as possible. This way of thinking is something that can protect this opportunity of our precious human life. It can protect us. So this is very important to recollect also because of the place where we are. The place that we are is samsara, or cyclic existence. Because we abide within samsara or cyclic existence, we will encounter many problems. If we do not protect ourselves, what will happen is we will feel that this situation is not okay. We will feel dissatisfied, and then we will become more unhappy and stressed. And if we relax and think about it, then if we think about our hundreds of lifetimes in the past, perhaps you don't hold lifetimes, but these past and future lifetimes are something that we think about. If we think about these hundreds of lifetimes in the past, if we think about possible hundreds of lifetimes in the future, and we look at this opportunity, we will see that there is no opportunity more precious than this. And so having achieved this human rebirth, in order for it to go well, then what is the task, what is the work that we need to engage with? How do we accomplish that? And so Geshe is going to explain this, mainly based upon the words of Maitreya, in particular Maitreya's prayer. And 2,500 or 2,600 years ago, this great being, Buddha Shakyamuni, he arrived on this world, and he was somebody who brought benefit to many great beings, whether human or animal. And similarly, at a later period, when the teachings have eclipsed, the Buddha Maitreya will come, and he will similarly engage in activities to benefit all beings, from the gods, the devas, to the humans and the animals and so forth. And if we are able to encounter these words of Maitreya's speech, and if we are able to keep them in mind and to study and practice these, then we will place an imprint within our consciousness. And that imprint may be something that allows us to directly encounter Maitreya in the future. So the shloka, or the verse, Geshe has read it out in Tibetan. I will read it out in English for you. That which overcomes the paths to the lower realms excellently reveals the path to higher status. That which guides one to a place without aging and death, I prostrate to the Bodhi mind. So this particular verse, this shloka, if you use that we call the self, the I, and you engage yourself with checking it, with contemplating its meaning, you will see that it is something that has great, deep meaning. And so what do we need to think about when we think about the self or the I? We think that this I needs happiness in this life, yes, but this lifetime is very short. This I, this self, also needs happiness from lifetime to lifetime in the future, because as we pass away from this life, it will just be like moving to a different house. This body will be left behind, but the I or the self remains. That? And so what is it saying? If we think about when we go to the next life from the point of view of future lifetimes, we want to be able to be happy continuously, to achieve the causes of happiness. Then if we look at this first line, it speaks of the lower realms. If we are able to stop, to overcome the paths to the lower realms, then this becomes a great cause of stable future happiness. So here, when we speak of the lower realms, principally we can speak of the three lower realms, and out of these three, the animal realm is actually considered the sort of better of these three options. But because we can see the animals clearly, let us think of this, we can see very clearly that they are not able to convey, I am hungry. They are not able to convey that I am sick. There are so many things they cannot do or overcome, and for this reason they suffer.
오다 들리지 이제 한번 동보텔라 치쇼라고 지라 오다 한 레벨 나서 때고 야고 저거도 이제 한번 동보텔라 내소로 줘야 돼 괜찮아 오다 뭐 겨워 좀 가서 또 겨워 좀 되면 요새 이제 또 진짜 봐이나 생들을 해 세가지만 내소 봐 그래서 쳐보지.
And so the first step that we want to do is we want to be able to, if we want to achieve stable happiness, the first step is that we want to be able to close the paths to the lower realms. And in order to be able to do this, we want to, as much as possible, decrease and abandon the 10 non-virtues. We want to, as much as possible, engage with the 10 virtues and engage in the activities of body, speech, and mind of the 10 virtues. And so if we are able to engage our body, speech, and mind with these 10 virtues, then not only will this life be happy, but we will also be able to be happy from lifetime to lifetime in the future. And if we check very carefully, even from the perspective of this life, at problems big or small, we can trace the source of these problems is the engagement with either the body, speech, or mind with something unwholesome or non-virtuous. So if we take the long view, we can come to a great profit, which is thinking that if I am not able to get rid of these engagements with the non-virtues, then in future lifetimes I will, because of that non-virtue or unwholesomeness, fall into the lower realms. If I fall into the lower realms, not only will I not be able to engage in the good works that I want to engage in, but I will also encounter suffering and problems. And so what I must do is engage body, speech, and mind with the virtuous karma. And there are so many vast virtuous or wholesome things I can engage with, including training in hearing, contemplation, and meditation. And if I do that, then from lifetime to lifetime, until I reach liberation or until I reach Buddhahood, I will be able to go from happy rebirth to happy rebirth in the realms of humans and gods, or devas. And this is what is meant by the second line, excellently revealing the path to higher status. And if we want to be able to stop samsara, to truly cease samsara, then what we must counter, what we must cease, is engaging with karma and affliction. If we are able to close the path of karma and affliction, then we will be able to achieve a state without suffering, that stable happiness, which is what is meant by that state beyond aging and death. So this is the meaning of the third line, that which guides one to the state beyond aging and death. So what is the main practice here? Then the main practice that we want to engage with is the practice of bodhicitta, which is rooted in love and compassion. If we are able to engage in this practice of bodhicitta rooted in love and compassion, we can achieve a state of liberation, perfect freedom from the four maras. And if we think about this, we know that we can travel this path well. And then we understand that if we engage with this happily, joyfully, if we engage with it methodically, step by step, we will come to great progress. 연결했습니다. 기어서 이제 보자. And if we are able to achieve this freedom, if we are able to achieve this state, then we understand that we will be able to, just like somebody who decides to move to a different city, they can pick the city that they want to live in. We are able to choose to direct the future rebirth consciously for happiness. And it is for this reason that the last line, I prostrate to the Bodhi mind, understanding that bodhicitta is the king of method, understanding that bodhicitta is the king of a practice. It is that which allows us to go from lifetime to lifetime, from happy state to happy state, and also that which allows us to achieve the perfect result, the perfect state completely beyond suffering, stable happiness. And if we are able to draw a little bit closer to this mind of bodhicitta, what we will find is that with this attitude of bodhicitta, wherever we go, whatever type of human or whatever type of sentient being we encounter, they will all draw near to us. And understanding the benefits and thinking it's absolutely not okay if I don't put effort into studying bodhicitta, it's absolutely not okay if I don't put effort into practicing bodhicitta, then with a light, joyful mind, engage in practicing. So thank you very much, and once again, I hope and pray that you all are peaceful and happy. Thank you very much.